opposition presidential candidate and the former Vice President, Mr. Atiku Abubakar, and his party against acts that could be termed treasonable and asked them to stop beating the drums of war. And the People's Democratic Party today formally filed a motion asking Justice Buhari to excuse himself from the presidential election petition tribunal. Hello everyone and welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm sure Akimalia Channels Television's global headquarters in Lagos. Another day for some interesting stories and discussion in Nigeria's politics. So much to talk about, everyone. Today, we will keep tabs on the countdown to the inauguration of May 29. Take a look at our countdown clock right there on your screen. Today, it is now 14 days to the inauguration day, and we are monitoring the activities and events leading up to the day. So let's tell you about our first story tonight. Interesting. You know Honorable Kazare, that man in the House of Representatives. Today, the CBN governor faced a Senate committee as part of his screening for the job in which the president has nominated him. A lawmaker in the House of Representatives, Honorable Mohammed Kazare, has faulted the decision of the president. Take a listen to the lawmaker now.
We believe he is the man of integrity, and we believe he is fighting corruption, and we believe this next level we are going with the people of integrity. We surprise for the president that he reappoint the CBN governor Emefiele. Now we are accusing Dasuki, we are accusing Dizani, we are accusing many people. And Nenadi Usman and the others. All this money that they have been accused by EFCC is being released through central bank. Look at the things, what is going now. Things are going worst in this country every day. Things are going worst. So we are expecting next level to wipe this type of people aside, to bring a fresh people who's good idea, so that they can bring their contribution and give their contribution to the economy of this country. But I surprised some people come from the background and convince the president to appoint the people that they are still, so it means we are, instead of the next level, we are going back level.
Honorable Kazare, you remember him, right? Interesting one. The criticism against the CBN governor, and he's saying that he doesn't need to get the job. Well, we'll see how that pans out. Let's check out some more stories on our political roundup for you. These are some of the trending political stories for today.
The Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions has concluded the screening of the CBN Governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, over the request of President Muhammadu Buhari for a second term of 5 years. The committee commended the CBN Governor for what it describes as a reward for his hard work and contributions to the economy these past years as Governor of the Central Bank. Mr. Emefiele, during the screening, said plans were on to boost agriculture with special programs targeted at wholesale growth, and that the country was looking at growing the palm oil and cocoa markets. The Presidential Election Petition Tribunal has adjourned to the 22nd of May 2019 to hear an application by the People's Democratic Party and its presidential candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. The party, through its lawyer, Levi Eroku, had asked for a 10-minute chamber hearing alongside the lead counsel to other parties in the suit. But after a 35-minute stand-down, Judge Zainab Bolkachua asked Mr. Arugu to talk about the issues he raised in chambers in open court because it is already in the public domain. The PDP had written to Justice Bolkachua to recuse herself from the tribunal on the grounds that her husband had won an election on the platform of the APC, and also because of a statement she made at the inaugural sitting that no matter how well an election is conducted, there are bound to be disputes. A Kanu State High Court sitting in Miller Road, Kanu, has asked both parties involved in the appointment of new emirs to maintain status quo, pending the hearing on motion filed by the Kano State Assembly Minority Leader and Minority Whip. As the General Assembly of the West African Police Chiefs Committee enters its second day, the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Mohammed Adamu, is advocating the need for greater cooperation among security agencies in the region to curb transnational crime in the region. Addressing an expanded meeting of the Assembly in Abuja, Mr. Mohammed Adamu stresses the need for security agencies in the region to re-strategize and find common ground that will help in reducing the security challenges bedeviling the region. One of the final projects of the Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha before he leaves office is the commissioning of the newly constructed Justice Oputa State High Court in Owerri, the Imo State capital. The new edifice is equipped with elevators, 26 courtrooms, and is built to accommodate the needs of the physically challenged. In his speech, the governor lists his achievements in the state and promises to pay outstanding allowances.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's tell you that President Muhammad Buhari will go for Umrah, a pilgrimage. The presidency today says President Buhari has accepted the invitation of King Salman bin Abdulaziz, the ruler of Saudi Arabia and custodian of the two holy mosques, to perform the Umrah, a lesser pilgrimage in the kingdom. To this effect, the president, accompanied by close personal aides, will embark on the journey on Thursday, 16th May. Is expected back in the country on Tuesday, the 21st of May. Now, the Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, is accusing the People's Democratic Party of working to sabotage the Buhari-led administration, describing their brand of politics as a threat to democracy. Speaking at a separate briefing after the Federal Executive Council meeting today, the Information Minister says the opposition party has shown desperation through its attack on the judiciary and seemingly overheating the polity through their public utterances before and after the 2019 general elections. He asked the opposition party to resort to the appropriate channels like the president, Muhammadu Buhari, did 3 times when he lost previous elections. Take a listen to him.
The federal government has very strongly decried the increasingly unpatriotic and desperate opposition politics being played by the PDP and its presidential candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, warning that such dead-end opposition politics could be toxic for the nation's democracy if left unchecked.
Well, the Presidential Election Tribunal will hear an application by the People's Democratic Party against its chairman, Justice Zainab Bukachua, on May the 22nd, 2019. The PDP and its presidential candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, had written to Justice Bukachua asking her to withdraw from the tribunal because her husband is a senator-elect under the All Progressives Congress. However, counsel to the petitioners, Mr. Levi Uroku, elected to come by way of a motion for the tribunal to take a decision. Today, we begin a series on the agenda setting for President Muhammadu Buhari and the APC government ahead of the resumption of a second term in office, which will commence on the 29th of May. Let's get to it, everyone. So many issues on the table. The promises of the fourth term of the Buhari and the APC government, and the agenda for what they call the next level government, which is the second term of this government. So my partner tonight, Mr. Odumakin, a former spokesperson to General Buhari and the spokesperson of Afenifere, is now a very strong critic of this government in several areas. Mr. Cletus Obun is a former lawmaker and an APC chieftain. Is in our Abuja studio. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on tonight.
My pleasure.
So if we begin, there's a series tonight, and starting with some of what we have seen today, looking ahead to May 29th, just about 14 days to that day. If there is one most critical thing that the president needs to focus on or to start the new term with, what would that be?
Well, I think he hinted it a few days ago when he had a meeting of the progressive governors of APC. when the president said that Nigeria today needs true federalism.
It sounded like what you have always clamored
for. But he stopped short of saying, consequent upon this, I'm doing this. Either I'm implementing the El-Rufai Committee report, 2014 Conference National Report. I'm calling a conference. That is what we are waiting for. Because as Nigeria is today, it will be a waste of time to spend another 4 years, to start another thing and saying we want to fight corruption. We have done that for 4 years. What's the result? In 2014, in the Transparency International Index on Corruption, Nigeria was 136. In 2018, we dropped to 144. So we can't be talking and say we are fighting corruption. We must have a country. The other day, Agriculture Minister Adogbe went to Katsina, was talking about agriculture. And I said, which agriculture are you talking about? We need security. And you cannot secure this country. Today, banditry has taken over the whole country. You cannot secure the country on the basis of present architecture. You have to restructure Nigeria. You cannot take Julius Berger now to go and face Abuja, Kaduna Expressway. Which expertise will go on that road today? So we need to secure Nigeria.
The governor says is based on the recommendation that that road is secure.
And then I think he should test drive the road now. Let him come to Abuja without escorts, so that I can know that the place is safe. We like to deceive ourselves. Today, from Kaduna to Abuja, I'm told that they are now selling tickets for standing in the train. Because we are afraid of the road. We should not continue to deceive ourselves.
If you look at what the Buhari government says he's planning to do, or he planned to do in 2015, when he set out, he said 3 cardinal objectives.
Yes.
Security, fighting insurgency was, in fact, one of the main in that regard. The issues of economy and the issues of fighting corruption. If you are to assess this government, from 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, how would you rate this government over the last 4 years based on what they said they wanted to do?
On the basis of these 3 points, maybe I'll raise them 3 or 10.
That's poor, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, because the state of security today, look at your country today. It's ungovernable.
What about economy?
The governable space is shrinking. On the economy, have you seen the Bloomberg report on Nigeria indicators? On every indices, between 2014 and 2018, Nigeria, we have gone worse. In 2014, we were using 27% of our budget to service debt. Today, we are using 60%. Even just look around us, the rate at which we are committing suicide, the rate at which law and order is breaking down, the level of crime, these are indicators.
Fighting corruption, what do you think?
Corruption, as I've told you, in 2014, TI rating, we were 136. 2018, we have 144. We have drop points. So what corruption are you fighting? So we must face we must have a country. We are losing the country at the moment. We must have a country. I think the president used to say, we must secure Nigeria and manage it. So you have to secure the country at the stage we are now and secure Nigeria today.
Are you confident of the second term of President Buhari? The man you work with at the CPC, you're confident of him?
Well, the last 4 years have been what they are. Except there is an attempt to retool.
All right, let me pause you for a moment. I'm being told that we need to take a break. But when we come back, I have Honorable Cletus Obun in our Abuja studio. I see him shaking his head, not agreeing with what Mr. Odumakin is saying.
Yes.
We get the other side of the conversation right here on the assessment of the Buhari government and looking ahead into the second term. That's next on the program, everyone. Join us again. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us on the program. So we started this series and is to look ahead of the second term of the President Muhammadu Buhari government. Now, it's certain that on the 29th of May, that's supposed to be the inauguration day. That may happen. That's what the government says. It might be on the low key. But let's look at what Nigerians, yourself and myself, want this government to do. So get on Twitter, get on any social media and tweet at us and get your views to us. Hashtag what Buhari must do. Hashtag what Buhari must do. Hashtag second term agenda. 2ND term agenda. Those are the hashtags that you need to. We'll curate it and get your views to government and put it live on TV so that everyone can know what Nigerians want. Let's get back to the conversation. I have Mr. Cletus Obun. He's in our Abuja studio. Also, Mr. Odumakin. He had spoken for General Buhari when he was a candidate of the CPC at the time, but he's now very critical. He's very critical of this government. He believes that they can do better in what they are doing presently. Let me go to our Abuja studio with Mr. Cletus Obun. He's an APC chieftain. I saw you shaking your head before we went on that break. Obvious disagreement with what Mr. Odumakin is. He rated your government as poor, 3 over 10. And he did say, looking forward, this nation needs to be recalibrated.
Well, Odumakin has been a very consistent and persistent critic of governments beginning from the Nadeko days. That was my first encounter with him and Joe Odumakin and a few other persons in the days of Abraham Odeshanyo. But let me say this. As far as this government is concerned, if we are going to deal with qualifications and qualifiers and modifiers, he is saying this government can do better, which means it is doing good. So in terms of gradation, the government is doing good enough, but it should do better. And of course, all human societies and organizations are intended and molded after improvements. And this government had never pretended that it was coming to start anything new, but that it was going to do a few things differently. Nigeria was not going to stop producing oil, but it was going to produce oil on the basis of profitability and value addition, and value chain addition in other products and areas of comparative advantage in economic terms. In terms of security, you will all agree that this government came into place on the basis of security and anti-corruption. You cannot say that this government has not done well. It may not have done well from the position you are standing, not because it is not doing anything, but it is doing what you do not want. That does not in any way change the facts on ground. The third thing I want to say about the criticism of this government is that not to criticize government is itself anti-democratic. So it is in the interest of this government to listen to criticism. Where it is wrong, it takes correction, and where it is correct, it ignores. Most of what we are getting today is nothing but cynicism parading as criticism. Cynicism is the extreme of frustration, and I do not think that PDP today has any moral obligation. Any other Nigerian, any other person, except politics for politics' sake. If it is about governance, if it is about developmental indices, PDP has lost the moral ground to criticize this government. It should leave that duty to other citizens of Nigeria who have not had the opportunity to sit for one day. As the late sage will say, Awolowo, give me Nigeria for one day and this country will change. We gave PDP 16 years and it was squandered on the altar of patronage, and corruption became a governmental...
Honorable Obun, if I may butt in quickly, on some of your submission, governance is really not what the leaders want to do for these people, but what the people want, because that seems to be a popular thing happening across the world, and we see this kind of agitation across some, even part of Europe, where a popular decision against the decision of the leaders. So in this sense, going ahead or looking ahead into the second term of President Buhari that he was re-elected for, from your own point of view, your party says next level agenda, but if you have been rated poorly, just like Mr. Odumakin rated your party, are Nigerians hoping for a next level or for you to fix what you promised and what they think that you did not do well at all?
One of the things that was never anticipated, or what we call unintended consequences of governance, is the security level, the level of insecurity that was never anticipated. As at the time of takeover, the security situation was in this country was not at the level at which we see it today. Therefore, what I expect as a Nigerian in the area of security is an improvement in synergy between the stakeholders within the regional and international levels. What I expect to see in economic terms is a sustenance of the market money, of the end power, which even the PDP acknowledges, and some PDP governors have hijacked it and imagined that it is their program. I want to see it sustained and improved upon. I want to see the school program, the school feeding, homegrown school feeding program. I want to see the cocoa and rice revolution get on. In India, we have what we call the blue revolution, which is the water revolution. We have seen the white revolution, what we call the milk revolution, in which you have tankers of milk distributed on the streets of India like you sell tankers of water in Nigeria.
This series of looking ahead, Honorable Obun, because of our time, this series of looking ahead of the second term agenda of President Buhari will continue. But let me allow quickly, because we need to round up now. Help me, your closing remark, Mr. Odumakin. Do you think this government has the capacity going into a second term with what we have seen so far? Just to round up.
Well, clearly, like I said, you cannot repeat what you have done as not succeeded and expect success. They have the opportunity now to go back to the drum boards. You can, like I said, you cannot be talking about the same rhetorics. It has to be concrete. And if we want to get anywhere, the place to start is where the president said, we must rearrange Nigeria.
How urgently should he do that?
That's the first thing. The federal police has failed today. You cannot longer say the state cannot have the police. IG, you come to Lagos because they kill somebody in Lagos. Before you get there, you are going to Binikebi. Before you get there, you have forgotten what happened in Lagos. You cannot police Nigeria for Abuja anymore.
So from May 29, the next level the first step of the next level should be through federalism or restructuring.
Of course, if you don't do that, it's a waste of time. You can't be talking of empower, going to market, you are doing 2,000 naira, 5,000 naira. That means nothing.
All right, let's close. Mr. Obun, in 30 seconds, please help me. Do you agree with Mr. Odumakin that the next level should be the first step of the next level should be the restructuring? Do you agree? In 30 seconds, please.
Restructuring is a bastardized terminology that is being bandied by those who do not understand what they want. What restructuring means to Odumakin does not mean the same thing to me. Therefore, the next level is sustaining what this government has taken off with, taking power, devolution of powers, as we are seeing in the